So it's not.
Hey, all right, we're live. Welcome everybody to Hump Day Hangouts, episode 283. Today is tax day, or maybe it's the day formerly known as tax day, 2020. So for those of you in the US, I believe you know tax day got set back, kind of a free extension, if you will. But we're not delaying Hump Day Hangouts. We're just going right along on schedule. Although to go with the coronavirus stuff going on, I'm wearing a hat because my hair is getting all crazy now that my clippers broke, and it's taken forever because Amazon's not shipping stuff as fast as they normally would, which is fine. But I was actually on a call earlier today as a mastermind call, and one of the guys had just given up and just shaved his head. And so I'm starting to see some fun coronavirus haircuts. I think that might be a meme. Yeah, it might go like Marco, just get it down. So with that said, we got a few announcements and then we're going to get into the good stuff. We got a lot of really good questions today, but let's start. I'm going to start with Bradley. How you doing today?
I'm happy to be here, man.
All right.
It's a nice spring day outside. It's kind of cool, but I got to go out and go for a run before about an hour ago. So
nice.
Glad to be here.
All right. Now hold on. For those of you who don't know, Bradley's more of a weights guy. So you went for a run?
Yeah. Well, when I can't lift weights, which I can't right now, I run, and I run often. So I ran 5 miles yesterday and 3.5 today. And so I run when I don't lift. Good deal. That makes I'm a runner. So yeah, I like hearing that. All right, Marco, how about you?
I ran to the door just earlier.
How was it? Was it a good workout?
It was tiring, man. You know, I'm recovering. I had to go get some oxygen and yeah.
Make sure you got a water bottle nearby. Take care of yourself.
Always do. Keep water close by just in case. Got to hydrate from all that heavy steps that I had to take. Anyway, this is going all to hell. Things are good. Heavy Hitter Club is coming online today. Mastermind members contact support at heavyhitter.club because you're going to get the deal of a lifetime to join the Heavy Hitter Club. We always say membership has its privileges. One of those privileges is to get discounts, deep discounts into any of the things that we do, right? Whatever it is, from RYS Academy, RYS Academy Reloaded, Syndication Academy, just whatever it is, we either include it in the price or we give them a steep discount. Everyone else is also going to get a discount because we understand we're in the middle of a crisis. Things aren't the way that they're supposed to be, but we're going to help you make money, guys. If that's what you're looking for, we're going to give you a really good deal. And yes, it's a one-time only offer. You come, you take advantage of it, and if not, I sincerely believe it's your loss, not ours, because we're going to help you make money in any and every way we can. Technical SEO, I mean, it's for ranking. That's the easy part. We're going to teach you how and why, especially why things are the way they are. So I know it's kind of last minute, because yesterday I was saying if we don't do it in the next 45 days, if we don't launch it, then it's not going to happen. And then all of a sudden it just came together, and here it is today. Contact support at heavyhitter.club for the discount if you're a mastermind member. And if you're not, then I'm going to post the link to the sign up page in the Hangouts. I'll go and post in Facebook. There is a page for those of you who want to take care of who want to take advantage of the special that we're offering. It's a bonehead special. You can't say no. You can, but why would you? So there you go.
Awesome. Just to clarify, though, because I know we're going to get this question, what's the difference between Heavy Hitter Club and the Mastermind? And Heavy Hitter Club is technical SEO, spearheaded by Rob and Marco. Of course, some of us may linger and pop in, and such, but it's going to be primarily Marco and Rob talking about technical SEO stuff, like just real nitty gritty shit, guys. So that's what that is. And the Mastermind includes SEO, but also so much more, right? It includes business building and, marketing and branding and all different types of marketing, digital marketing and holistic marketing and everything else. So there's, outsourcing, management, everything else that goes into running and operating a business. where Heavy Hitter Club is specifically technical SEO and how to monetize and get best results from SEO and that sort of thing. So I just want to clarify that.
Yeah, I think, well, Marco, I'll let you put it in your own words, but I think you put it best for the difference between you come in there because you want to, well, like you're saying, scorched earth with SEO. But if you're a business owner, unless that's your passion, that may not be where you should be spending your time.
Exactly. What if you're a business owner and what's in your mindset should be growing your agency, growing your business. SEO is part of growing your business, but you as a business owner shouldn't be in there. You should delegate. You should have someone, a partner, a VA, just whoever, so that you can stay in the Semantic Mastery Mastermind and grow your business, whatever business it may be. It doesn't have to be an agency. And at the same time, you have someone with us in the SEO part of it, learning the technical aspects that are going to help you with rankings and that are going to help you drive traffic to the website. It's all about entity, right? And today, in the semantic web, think about it. This is where it was going all along. The semantic web of things, not strings. It's all about things. And there's nothing better as far as Google is concerned than a brand. Then if that thing is a brand and it's related to all of the entities that it finds under that niche, right? So this is what we're looking to push to people, how this is happening, why it's happening, and how you can take advantage of it. Because we look for any and every loophole and advantage that we can take of, we do. Most of the stuff we do, by the way, are not loopholes. Loophole means that they can be closed rather easily. And we've seen that happen time after time after time. But RYS, people said it was a loophole, but it's been a 5-year-old loophole that hasn't been closed. So think about that while you're concentrating on this. Right? Like don't think that you have to choose one or the other if you're a business owner. You shouldn't. You should do both. And if you can't do both, then yes, you should have someone who takes care of the SEO part so that you can concentrate on growing your business.
Definitely. Good stuff. All right. Well, Hernan, how you doing? What's going on? You look good. You look excited.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to be here. It's hoodie season. We're good. We're safe. I've been working a lot like lately. You know, a lot of business owners, they're starting to understand the power of digital marketing. They're pivoting. So, you know, I've been doing some consulting for those entrepreneurs that they're not letting things dictate how they're running their business, but rather they're getting ahead of the curve. And I'm excited that, you know, we're helping business owners to achieve just that, you know, to achieve, hey, we all know that this is like these are weird times, but we need to get prepared. We need to be there. So it's, you know, it's really cool. It's really cool to be able to help some of these people out. So I'm excited to be here.
Cool. Good stuff. All right, Chris, last but not least, how you doing, man?
Yeah, doing good here. Not so excited as Hernan about the Facebook stuff at the moment. The bots didn't like me today, so Hernan knows what that means. But like, yeah, like things are good. Otherwise, we're moving on, and I'll be back.
Nice. All right. Yeah, you need to get like what did he have? Was it was like a box of roses, the Terminator?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's awesome. All right. Actually, don't pull out a gun on screen. You probably freak people out, but it'd be pretty cool. Real quick, just want to say, for those of you joining us for the first time, you're probably a little confused, but we want to say thank you, and you're in the right place. We're going to get into answering SEO digital marketing questions. If you're watching the replay, you can always join us live at semanticmastery.com/HD questions. Ask your questions, attend live, but if you can't, we understand things come up. You can check out the replays on YouTube and subscribe to our channel so you get notified of those updates. Also, if you're an agency owner or a consultant, you want to get more clients, you want to grow your revenue, and you want to scale your team so that you can work less and earn more, find out more about that at 2xyouragency.com. The membership there is definitely growing. We got some great stuff going on. We just wrapped up the last of the training. Was that Monday?
Monday.
Yeah. Yep. Monday. So there is a ton. I'm not going to go into the details of it, but there is a ton of good stuff, but it is all centered around those 3 central pillars, right? Getting more clients, growing your revenue, and scaling your team. All right. And that's what it's about. So if you're interested in any one of those, it's a no-brainer. You put all 3 of those together, and it's kind of the rocket fuel for your agency rocket, if you will.
May I interrupt for a moment?
No, just kidding. Yeah, go for it.
Don't spill the beans.
we finished week 12. Which was a collaboration of all of us, you know, that you're seeing on screen right now. And so it was on Monday. We kind of recorded what we called insights from agency veterans. And so we each kind of spoke throughout the recorded webinar of us kind of having a conversation about what we've learned over the last, throughout our digital marketing careers, with Marco having the most experience or tenure of all of us. But, combined, we've got a lot of damn experience. And so we each have our own businesses apart from Semantic Mastery. And so we all have, and we've all experienced similar issues, but unique to our own businesses. So we kind of really just spoke about, what we would do differently if we could do it all over again, in an effort to help you guys, our audience, to not make the same mistakes, or at least to recognize when something is occurring, and a way to push through it or get around it or over it or whatever, much quicker, if that makes sense. So I think it was a really powerful way to kind of wrap up the 12 weeks of intense training, and there's over 80 freaking videos in that course. So it's definitely a lot more value than what we're charging for it. So I would encourage you guys to go pick it up.
Definitely. Yeah. And we've got some more news about that coming. We also added some, a little bit of additional, but there's going to be some more information coming next week about this. And I'll just drop a little hint. It's for those of you who are interested in getting started. You can start with 2x your agency, that's fine. But for those of you who are just saying, hey, there's too many obstacles, or I'm not sure, like what niche to choose. I'm not sure what service or vertical I should be working in. I'm not sure if I have the money or the capital to start consulting business, things like that. Keep your ears and eyes open, and we'll be getting with you next week. Also, for those of you who are more concentrated on the SEO side of things, besides the Heavy Hitters Club, if you want to get step-by-step results from proven processes, then the battle plan is where you should be starting. It's generally where we tell everyone to start with Semantic Mastery. You can find out more about that at battleplan.semanticmastery.com. Now, what I'm going to say is we're going to have a brand new edition of the battle plan coming out, and yet I would still advise you to go pick up the battle plan right now. It's a no-brainer. It's I don't want to say this on here, but it's a ton of bonuses that are included in there. You can get access to it now, and it's going to pay for itself. Well, we had one person pay for itself in 13 minutes, but for you, you can pay for itself in definitely like a week or two, and then pick up the new edition when it comes out. We keep the price low. It's an entry price that we love and that everyone else loves. We've had, I think, 13 or 1,400 people get the battle plan, put it to use, and get good results. So anyways, if you haven't yet, just go grab it, and then the new edition will be coming out. We'll have some good stuff involved with that. And last but not least, MGYB, if you aren't familiar with that, head over to mgyb.co, check out where you can get all the done for you services. And if you're live today, I posted on the page the current flash sale we have going on with link building and the SEO Shield. You can save a bundle over there, but only for the next 48 hours. And if you're checking this out later and you're wondering how you can find out about stuff like that, just go over to mgyb.co, hop on the newsletter list, and that's how you can get notified of good stuff like this. All right, I think that's it, guys. Let's dive into the questions.
Sweet. I'm gonna grab the screen. Marco, I posted a message in Slack for you.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's pretty cool. All right, sorry guys, let me get into, okay, you should be seeing my screen, is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. All right, get my bearings, stand by. Okay, all these questions came from today. That's interesting. All right, DC SEO says, thanks for answering my question last week, guys. I appreciate it. One last question before I order the shield, just so I'm completely clear. Can I make sure that only my site appears in the SERPs and the gsite doesn't appear on the results pages? If you set it to no index, but I don't know why you would do that. Here's the question. Here's my question for you. Why would you not want to take up another spot in the search engine results in the top 10, right? Every asset that you can rank on the first page for whatever your desired keyword is another competitor that's not showing up on the page. So in my opinion, why would you ever not want the gsite to also appear for your primary keywords or your entity search or whatever it is that you're trying to rank? It seems like to me that you'd want to have all 10 spots on the first page if possible. So a G site can absolutely and will often rank for your primary keywords. In fact, it will often rank right below the money site. And here's the thing, if you're iframing your money site pages, you theme mirror like we tell you guys to do, and you're iframing your money site pages into your G site pages, and somebody lands on the G site, they're going to see your money site page anyways. They could still submit a contact request form. They could order, you know, make a purchase, submit an opt-in, do whatever it is that you want to do right from within the iframe of the G site. So why the hell would you not want it? So that would be my question to you. But yes, if you don't want it to show up in the SERPs, you could always set it to no index. I have no idea why you would do that though. Anybody want to comment on that?
Yeah, not only that. Once we release the Kraken, we can't control it. We can't control the beast. It's gonna do what it's gonna do, and there's just no way to control it unless, yes, you set it to no index. But as Bradley said, why would you want to give your competition extra real estate space to compete against you? It makes absolutely no sense. You can make landing pages that are really neat, or you can everything that's above the fold with CTAs that are attractive and that will get clicks. They'll get action. You can get a video in there. You can get a whole, but you know, right above the fold. So if you don't like how the rest of it looks, person isn't likely to scroll down if they find what they're looking for, like right above the fold. They're not likely to scroll down. SEOs are the ones who tend to do that. But if you answered the question or the pain or the problem right above the fold, they're just going to click and go over to where they need to go. So think about it that way. And no, I'll say it again. We cannot control the beast once it's released. It's going to do what it's going to do, and that's it.
Awesome. Fitz is up. He says, can we, or maybe also should we, add the G site to Search Console for our main GMB email? Yeah, you can. I just typically add it to the Search Console, the same Google account that the Drive Stack and G site were built under. It's typically how I do it. But you can always, so in other words, you know, whatever Google account it is that MGYB creates for the Drive Stack and the G site, I submit to Search Console within that Google account. Now, if I want to still be able to, you know, view it or manage it, you know, look at reports and such from Search Console from the main GMB account that it's, you know, pushing relevance to, then you can add that as an additional user. But, you know, it's up to you. I don't think it makes any difference either one way or the other. The whole idea of putting it in the Search Console is so that you can, you know, help with the index and such. Comments? Okay. Heads up. He says, should different website properties have different NAP, name, address, and phone number? Working with an umbrella corporation as multiple ecomm website brands. Want to have SEO Power Shields for each individual ecomm property, but worried about penalties or issues that may occur with shared or overlapping NAPs. You know, I don't know, because it's not a local business. If it's ecomm, I don't know that, you know, NAP issues or ambiguation with NAP is going to cause any problems if you're not trying to rank in maps. If that makes sense. You know, I'll let Marco take this one though, because this is more up his alley than mine. All I do is local. So I don't really know the best answer for that. Marco, what do you say?
Yeah, this is one of those things is what are one of the places where I look at the competition, first of all. What are they doing? Not because I'm concerned about the competition, but just what are they doing? If they're national, if they're global, how are they relating their entities? And if they have offices in other places, how are they relating those? You say that you have different websites, but if it's all part of the same corporation, if there's one umbrella corporation, then you'd relate those through the schema. You can create all kinds of neat relationships through schema, and it's one of the things that Rob is going to show in the Heavy Hitter Club, how to relate all of these so that it becomes just one big umbrella, right? And under that umbrella would be all of the different offices or places or products or services or whatever it is that you're trying to do to create all of these associations.
Yeah, because see, I mean, I would use organization or corporation structured data for the umbrella company, right? And that, so it would apply to each individual site as well, because it's all part of the overall organization or corporation, right? But then you could have like website schema, for example, not necessarily local business. I mean, you could have local business if you do have a GMB for each one, which could be, part of the organization, right? But they would be individual locations. But for ecom, I don't know that that's necessary. Again, I don't do ecom, so I don't know if that's correct or not, or if that would help. But you could do something like website schema for that, if that makes sense. So the organization would tie it all together. And that's what Mark was saying is, you know, when you have an entity, even if you have multiple divisions or multiple locations or different, you know, pseudo brands that are like the child companies of a larger parent company, a broader parent company, if you can tie all that together through the entity, all of them will benefit, if that makes sense. Because again, you're talking about branding and the entity itself, even if they're separate like divisions or sub brands and that kind of stuff, it will benefit from the overall organization that kind of ties everything together, if that makes sense. So anyways, as far as a URL shortener, go to mgyb.co/s, mgyb.co/s, and this is our URL shortener now. There are different subscription levels. You could have a free account if you wanted, but you get a lot of cool things with different subscription levels. And we've been using this for all the drive stacks URL shortening that we do for customers of ours and everything else for what, a year and a half, 2 years now. And it's super, super powerful. And you can do a lot of really cool things with our URL shortener if you have a paid plan, such as add retargeting scripts and things like that into the header for the redirect. All kinds of really cool things that you can do, password protect URLs and stuff like that. So I would go to mgyb.co/s and use that. Anybody want to comment on that?
No, I'm just the power behind our shortener is incredible.
It is.
It ranks. It ranks for keywords, and so it's just ridiculous, as you said, what you can do. So by all means, if you want to use Owly, I mean that's fine. Bitly, be careful. It's a 302. Google Firebase is also a 302. It can be a 301 if you go through the trouble of making it a 301 redirect, but you'd have to figure out how to do that.
Yeah, and what's interesting is it's crazy, but oftentimes, and I've seen this happen with drive stack files, for example, the MGYB, the redirect URL will rank, and in the search results, the shortened URL will show, even though when you click it, it redirects to the actual Google Drive file. And it's really interesting to see the drive files rank with the mgyb.co short URL. Because typically you don't see the redirect URL in the search results. You see the target or the final destination, right? So it's very interesting to see that. Kieran says, hey there, I had a few questions from last week, which unfortunately you were not able to get to. So here they are. The SEO Power Shield Syndication Network. If you order an SEO Power Shield, it comes with a syndication network. However, I am assuming it's a single tiered syndication network. Yes, it is the branded network. But let's say I want a multi-tiered syndication network. Is there an upgrade option rather than purchasing a full syndication network since single-tiered network already exists? Contact support at mgyb.co and make that request. And I'm not sure, maybe Marco's sure, but I'm fairly certain that we can accommodate that sort of a request, but it's going to have to be a custom order as opposed to just something that's done through the normal channel, if that makes sense. Marco, is that something we can do?
Maybe. We'd have to bolt on the tiered syndication network to the already existing syndic. But why would you want a tiered syndication network when tier 1 works just fine?
I mean, that's a good question. I would ask the same thing, but maybe he has a reason. So,
okay, I mean, fine. Write to support, and then what Rob and I will do is we'll sit and talk about it and see if it's even worth it, because the price that we might have to charge you may not make it worth it to you.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't think, I mean, unless if you have a reason for wanting a multi-tiered syndication network, then by all means do that. But I don't, we have been encouraging people to not use multi-tiered syndication networks for blog syndication because they're kind of a pain in the ass to maintain. However, if you've got something like RSS Masher, which is Damon Nelson's product, it's really good for creating beautiful spliced feeds with it's really, really cool. You can create really cool custom spliced feeds and use that to power your second tier networks, so that you have multiple relevant content sources posting to those networks, which is what we recommend. And with something like RSS Masher, it becomes much, much easier to maintain multi-tiered networks. The more manual method, which is how it had been done for years, requires adding a bunch of relevant RSS content feeds to the second tier triggers, which becomes a nightmare. Because let's say that if all you did was add, 3 additional, so you got your money site RSS feed, but then let's say that you had 3 additional relevant content feeds for each blog, a second tier syndication network, right? So if there's 3 of them, which is there are the way that we build them. So the first single tier is first ring, right? 1 ring. And then there's 3 syndication networks on the second tier, each being triggered by one of the blogs from the tier 1 network, right? So when I say blogs, I mean Blogger, Tumblr, or WordPress. But if you were to add 3 additional content feeds at the second tier trigger point, so for each one of those, you would need an additional 9 feeds, relevant content feeds that you don't control. And not only that, you have to set up a separate set of recipes or applets inside of IFTTT for each feed. So let's say there's 15 applets that you need to set up for each RSS feed that you add. That's an additional 45 applets per syndication network that you need to create, which in itself is not that bad. It's a bit tedious, but once it's done, it's done. But the problem occurs when you don't have control over those feeds. And because of that, like, things can happen to their site, the site that you're using the feed from, where it could have like I've seen RSS feeds hiccup and they just spit out a shit ton of posts, and it can terminate have a lot of your syndication network properties terminate because of over publishing. Things could break. There's just a ton of things that cause a lot of maintenance issues. And if you're just dealing with one project, it's okay because it's, you're only managing one project. But you've got SEO in your name up here. So I'm assuming you probably do client work or more than just one project. And so multi-tiered networks become kind of a nightmare too cumbersome to manage when you're doing multiple projects. At least that's my opinion, unless you're using something like RSS Masher, which really simplifies that process and adds a whole lot of control to even the input feeds that you create the super or spliced feed from, because it has filters and all these other really cool things. Like it can actually strip out content from the feed. There's a code inserter, a code stripper. There's all kinds of things in there. So again, multi-tier networks are not recommended. Obviously, if you know what you're doing and you have a strategic reason for using it, then by all means do so. Okay. Next question, disclaimer link on client sites. As you know, there is a long-term practice for SEO and web design companies to add a link back to their site in the footer. Yes, like the footer link section, right. I've recently been switching all of those links for SEO and marketing by brand plus keyword plus location, with brand plus keyword plus location being the anchor text linking to my SEO company's GMB profile. And I've seen some big results from it. Have you done any testing related to this? Just curious. No, those are considered site-wide links. And I mean, I do put those often in client sites, the footer as well, but I usually just link back with my brand name, and I usually follow those links. I have not done any testing with them in years, just because it became kind of a, site-wide links had become a negative factor essentially for a long time. And so I just got into the habit or the routine of just linking to my brand name. So Big Bamboo Marketing, and then following the links so that it didn't cause any like penguin issues, if that makes sense. But no, I haven't done any testing with it. It's interesting to hear that. Anybody else?
Well, it stands to reason, right? That brand plus keyword plus location, by eliminating marketing, because you don't need it. If you've done your entity work correctly on your marketing website, then adding a link that's your brand and the keyword and the locations that you're creating that relevance for the bot, there's no reason why then it should pick up any type of algorithmic penalty, because it's what you're asked to do at the local level. This is how you're taught to associate everything: brand plus location plus keyword, brand, keyword, location. That's what the bot is looking for. It comes in and it looks for this. So what it's picking up is all of that relevance back to your site, which is what we do really with RYS Academy Reloaded, except that we protect it one layer out through the SEO Power Shield, the Drive Stack and gsite, right? We create all of the relevance in there because we know that what Google's going to do is power it up rather than look to penalize it algorithmically. So if he's obviously getting results just from those changes, it worked. It could stop working in the future, right? Because anything that's working in Google could stop working tomorrow, theoretically, simply because they decide to. You have to be careful with that type of thing.
Okay, thanks, Marco. The next question is from Big Billy. He says, anchor question. I have several product pages that I put a link to my category page for that type of product. I use the word here many, many times to link up to the same page. Any chance I could get that page an algorithmic penalty, or doesn't it matter because it's a generic term? No, not for that. If you over optimize for a singular keyword, then that can actually cause problems. But something like that, my question is, I'm not sure. Well, again, product pages, I don't do ecom, so I'm not even going to explain why I wouldn't use here so much, but that shouldn't be a problem. I would try to use various keywords though. Again, I don't do ecom, so I don't know what you're specifically doing, but I typically, when I'm linking back up to, any sort of like a silo landing page or a home page or whatever, I try to just vary the anchor text with LSI keywords, right? So synonyms for whatever my primary keywords are from. So for example, if I'm coming from a blog post about tree removal in a particular area, then I'm going to use some sort of tree removal keyword or variation of it. Tree removal service, tree cutting service, arborist tree removal, something like that, to link back up to the landing page for that particular silo. But again, using a generic term like that, it's not going to cause any, I've never heard of that causing an algorithmic penalty, because I don't know of any SEOs out there that are optimizing for here. You know what I'm saying? So Marco, do you have any comments on that?
No, I haven't seen it. And in fact, when I do my interlinking, I use the generic terms a lot, but not only here, go here, more information.
Learn more, read more.
All of that. So there's about 10, 12 terms that you can use, and you can spin those so that they don't appear the same thing, right? One after the other, because it can get, as far as the user, it can get repetitive, and that's not something that you want. You don't want the user to here again and again, here and here. This is it's e-commerce. I assume there's a bunch of products on there, all of them with here. So create variations simply for the sake of not boring the user with the same terms over and over and over again.
Yeah, and remember, you can also lengthen the phrase that you're going to use for the anchor text. It doesn't always have to just be a keyword, guys, or a keyword phrase. It can be a longer statement, like, you know what I mean? So, get more information about keyword here. That could be an entire link. If that makes sense. The whole, short sentence could be a link. And what that does is, again, it adds diversity, but you still get your keyword in there without it being over optimized. And it makes sense to the reader or the user, because the phrase itself is a call to action. Does that make sense? So there's a lot of variations that you can do to kind of add some diversity to that.
Yep.
Next, go ahead.
No, I said yes, absolutely.
Also, question for Marco. I own RYS and RYS Reloaded, and I'm about to get serious about it. Well, that's good. Should I even learn the original version or just drive straight into RYSR?
Well, there's a lot of neat stuff by Dr. Gary in the archives. So I would say by all means, you need to get to the archives, but to get to the archives, first start with what the most current training is. And that's whatever is in RYS Academy Reloaded. And please understand, we do need to update that at some point, because a couple of things have changed. Not the power. The power that we're generating doesn't change, and it's gotten even better. But there's a few things in there that we do have to go over. I'm glad. I wish I knew your name. Come on the Facebook group and say what's up. So go through the training. We're still supporting, after 5 years, we're still supporting the damn Facebook group. We're still in there answering questions. So come on in there. If you have any questions, ask away.
Awesome. Last week, Marco mentioned to iframe your ecom page onto a gsite, but the new gsite has a frame breaker. Is that true, Marco?
No. I
always work in the old site, but I'm quite sure the new gsite have iframes too, don't they?
Okay, so maybe he has his terms mixed up. You cannot take the new gsite and iframe that anywhere else, right? Because it does have a frame breaker. But you can iframe on the new gsite. There's a insert embed code, right? There's a, what do you call it? There's an icon in there that allows you to iframe anything, unless what you're trying to iframe has a frame breaker also.
Right. Right. So your ecomm platform may have an iframe breaker, but you are able to iframe pages into the new G site. That's what I always work in the old site. The MGYB builders build the new site, but all the work that I do for theme mirroring and everything is always in the classic G sites. But I was going to say, I know the new G sites have my pages, like the Pearl Trees and, Press Advantage page and things like that all get iframed in there. So I can't imagine. The only thing I would assume, Billy, is that perhaps your ecomm platform might have an iframe breaker. So, okay, moving on. BB says, hey guys, what is the problem of duplicate content during syndication for full text posts? Is there a problem apply on branded network also, or just tier 2 and beyond? There's no problem at all. When you have it, that's the whole point of the attribution link, BB. If your RSS feed should have, depending on what kind of plugin you're using, RSS plugin, God forbid you're using Yoast, but almost all RSS plugins now have an RSS setting that will allow you to inject an attribution link, either before the content or after the content. And so in your plugin settings, you go in and you code in the attribution link, and there's typically some sort of tokens in there, like post URL, post title, site title, all of those things that you can tokenize your attribution link for, so that essentially it will pull the title. So what I always do is I always use the post title as the anchor text, and it links to the post URL. Again, those are tokens that you can code into the attribution code in the RSS plugin settings. However, if your RSS plugin settings if you don't have the ability to code in an attribution link, then you can do that within the applets inside of IFTTT, which just means you have to edit the applets. It really only well, you should do it also for Google Drive. So like your document sharing, when you syndicate a blog post into Google Drive and what is it, Microsoft OneDrive or whatever the hell it is, those should also have attribution links. But really, primarily you're going to be your blogs. So Blogger, Tumblr, WordPress, that you really want to make sure that you have the attribution links in. And there's no problem with duplicate content because you're citing the original source. That's the whole point. And even if you weren't citing the original source, it's still not a duplicate content problem. Duplicate content only occurs on the same domain. It doesn't occur off-site. If it did, then press releases would be toxic. And some press releases are toxic.
Actually, there is no such thing as duplicate content anywhere. Okay. Even on site, I mean, all that's going to happen if the pages are similar or the same. What Google is going to do, and we've explained this before, it's going to start A/B testing, ABCD. However many pages are similar, it's going to take those. It's going to start giving it impressions, and then it's going to decide which one answers the query the best, and that's the page that's going to end up indexed, right? In the active index, let's just call it, versus all of the others. But you're not going to get any penalties. What you are going to get is warnings about duplicate titles and descriptions, so that you can make unique titles and descriptions, and the content can pretty much be the same. And then again, you're leaving it up to Google to decide which version of your page is the best for the query, instead of you deciding on your best converting page versus all the other pages. Look in Search Console and see which pages are being served for the different keywords, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. You'll see ABC, ABCD. You'll see like, if the pages are very similar, you'll see 4, 5, 6 pages. If you're doing mass page builds, you'll see even more. And Google will give all of those pages impressions until it decides which one the best one would be. That's what they call keyword cannibalization. It's not really that. It's Google deciding which page answers the query the best. So let's end this duplicate content myth once and for all. I actually saw a definitive guide to SEO by a company which I kind of respected. They had really good information. They put out the definitive guide to technical SEO, and they went into duplicate content as if it could be an issue. And it can only be an issue if you're having all of these pages competing against one another to see which one Google is going to rank. That's the only way that it can affect you. You're not going to get a penalty. Nothing's going to happen other than Google. You know, it'll take Google as long as it takes Google to decide which page is the best. You want to leave that up to Google, or do you want to go in, figure out which one it is that you want, and then rel canonical or redirect all of the other pages to that one page?
Yeah, go search Google for canonical, and you'll see, or rel equals canonical, and you'll see that Google created that specifically for that reason. And that's so that you can push credit from similar pages to whatever you want to be the parent or master page, so to speak. And that's to specifically address potential duplicate content issues on even the same domain. That's what canonical was originally developed for. And then they came up with cross-domain canonicals as well. And that's for canonicalizing similar pages from other domains to a specific target, if that makes sense. So BB, I'm going to, I think this is the same BB that we've answered questions before, but we're going to have to say this once again, and I can't assume that everybody knows this, but we don't typically allow people or ask people to post this many questions because it's just not fair to other people. So because these are all around the exact same thing and they're very, very short, going to be really easy to answer, I will answer these guys, but come on, next time, just post a question or two, please, and then allow some others to post and then post another question or two, just because it's not fair. Okay. So the next question was, is there a reason why we should have rel equals nofollow on attributed link on the RSS items? No, other than a lot of the plugins that the SEO plugins, when you code in an attribution link, they're going to automatically apply a nofollow tag to it. And unless you want to go in and actually edit the plugin code, which I used to do with Yoast years ago. But every time Yoast, like I would go in and into the plugin code, right? And actually edit the plugin code to remove that rel equals nofollow tag to the RSS attribution link. However, every time the plugin updated, it would update that code, and you'd have to go back and edit it. And you can imagine if you have more than just a couple of sites, how much of a pain in the ass that was. So I just stopped doing it. I don't even care anymore. If we can make it follow, great. If not, nofollow is good enough. It's just an efficiency thing. Right? Does that make sense? It's just too difficult to go in and edit plugin code. However, if you got a plugin code that will allow you to put in a follow link as opposed to, and it doesn't automatically apply the nofollow tag, then by all means do that. Which, by the way, if you code it in through IFTTT, then it will be a follow link as long as the blogs or the syndication point provides follow links. But many of them are no follow links anyways. Okay. The next one was, why should you use spintax? Why should you spintax the attribution and the after text post when syndicating your RSS? It just adds diversity to the attribution link. Does that make sense? If you can add spintax to the attribution link text that you're, in the plugin settings, like our plugin does, then it just adds diversity so that it's not always the same exact line, right, on every single post. That gets syndicated out, but it's not a problem. It just adds some diversity. If you have that functionality, use it. If you don't have it, don't worry about it. Okay. Why you have limited the RSS plugin to only 5 posts? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Chris isn't on. He's the one that developed but there should be settings to be able to adjust that. And also, it's not the RSS plugin typically that does that. Go into your WordPress setting. Go to WordPress admin area. Go to settings. Reading, and then take a look there, and right there is where you should see how many posts show in the RSS feed, and that should be that should be where you adjust that setting, not necessarily the RSS plugin. Okay, is the RSS plugin just for adding spintax functionality? No, I can't tell you unless you're in the mastermind. The mastermind plugin adds the RSS plugin, which is only available in the mastermind. It's free to mastermind members. It has a lot of additional functionality. If you're talking about our RSS plugin, but the free version, I can't tell you because I haven't used that in 5 years. No shit. So I don't even know what the dashboard of that looks like. Does anybody know here?
No, because I only use the Pro.
Yeah, the Pro version, which is in the mastermind, is it adds all kinds of additional functionality. Like it allows you to republish old posts. It allows you to add hashtags and all kinds of cool stuff that Chris coded into it. But again, that's the pro version, which is in the mastermind. I don't use the free version, guys. There's really no reason for me to, so I can't tell you what that even looks like. I'm sorry about that. 2K says, howdy, you guys use AWS site? Yes, Amazon S3 bucket for the ID page. Why is that? To cite, well, a couple reasons. One, to siphon some authority from Amazon. Two, because it's an Amazon domain, which we can just fucking hammer with kitchen sink spam and everything else we want to throw at it. Number three, because it's just an HTML page that we upload because it loads really fast, and we load it up with our iframe stacking that we do the infinite loop, right? The infinite entity loop, the mirror and mirror, picture and picture that never ends. That's what we do. And those trust me, when you build out an ID page the way that we do it, and then go back and even add in some additional things, it will literally break your computer if you try to load it. It takes so much cache because so many iframes are trying to load, and it will overwhelm the cache or the memory on your PC. I know because it's locked up mine many times. And remember, guys, the ID pages aren't supposed to be for public consumption. In other words, they're not necessarily something that you want to rank or anything else. It's specifically for the bots. So it doesn't matter if it's going to lock up your browser, because how often are you or anybody else going to actually visit it? So, but there's a number of reasons why we use that. Marco, you can probably name a few others.
No, I mean, you named the main ones. The main purpose of that is to create another property in another powerful domain for the entity loop. So it goes to, however it is that we do it, that's how we do it. And we just add another. I mean, we could add more, but more isn't necessarily better. There's diminishing returns on what that loop will bring back. I think, because we've tried others, and it locks it up even with as much RAM as I have.
Yeah,
it'll lock up my computer, and yeah. I have tons of RAM.
I got 32 gigabytes or whatever it is,
yeah.
or megabytes, whatever the hell it is, and it'll lock my shit right up, man.
I got 64, and it's ridiculous what it'll do. Yeah. Yep. But anyway, the main reason is power, and an additional place where we store our entity information so that the bot can come and pick up some more somewhere else. It's just following the breadcrumbs. That's all it is.
Yeah. It's interesting because one of our mastermind members, Daryl, had shared with us one of his entity loop stacks that he had created. It was like an ID page essentially, and it was freaking insane. I can't remember. It had something like, I don't remember. I'm just going to throw a number out there because it was ridiculous. It was like 30 freaking iframes in it. Like it was nuts. And he was like, careful, make sure you got everything else shut down when you click this link. It was funny, but it's pretty cool. So the next question was, could you not just, part of the second half of that question was, could you not just use the Google site with all the embedded gstack stuff and put that in the schema? Or is there a reason you don't do that? Yeah, and we just explained why. The last question from 2K.
Wait a minute, we do use the gsite.
We do, right, and we embed the ID page in the gsite, right? So, yeah. and the gsite gets embedded in the ID page. Hence the mirror, the entity loop, right? Infinite entity loop. The next question was one more question. When I order a press release from MGYB, do you guys create the Press Advantage newsroom page? Yes, we do. Okay, so you will get the benefit of that. Nathan says, I saw your post today marketing the SEO Location Shields. Is that the RYS stack extension you have been working on launching? No, not yet. The SEO Location Shield can also be utilized for brands that are adding a second location under an already established brand with the syndication network. I already have an SEO shield for my brand. I need some created for inner service pages I'm trying to rank. Well, no, the Location Shield is if like, and Marco will correct me if I'm wrong, but because all I do is local, the location shields for me is if I have multiple locations for a particular brand. So for example, I'm working on a tree service project I'm making available to the mastermind. I'm doing it as essentially a live case study, which by the way, my mastermind webinar is tomorrow, and I've made a lot of progress on that. So those of you that are in the mastermind, I'll be sharing a lot more about that tomorrow. But anyways, it's a new brand with several GMB locations that I've already established, but I'm rebranding from an older brand to the new company, that because I got a new service provider. Anyways, so I ordered a SEO Power Shield for the main brand. In fact, I'm working on, and here you go, take a look. Here's the entity assets here. I'm working inside Process Street, developing that stuff out right now. So you can see the SEO. I'm not going to click into there, but the SEO Shield would be there. And it's the same thing as I'm actually working through developing the process out so that my team can do that for me. And so the primary brand is associated with whatever top level keyword is. In this case, it won't have a location associated with the top level keyword in the brand, because I want to create that as like an organization, in other words. And then all of the individual locations, which will be built on inner pages inside of the main site, will each get its own location shield, which means it gets its own gsite and drive stack that are optimized for that particular location, and it'll have an ID page as well. But then they get basically placed underneath the primary branded RYS drive stack. Does that make sense? So in other words, each location shield, the RYS stack becomes an inner folder of the primary entity stack, if that makes sense. And that way I don't have to build the ID page for each location. Each separate location drive stack is optimized specifically for the market level keywords plus the location modifier for that particular location. And in the ID page, which is unique to each location as well. But all of that gets placed under the parent main entity stack. And so that's the way that I do it, because all I do is local. And so that's how I think of location shields, although I'm sure location shields can be applied to other stuff other than local. How would you do that, Marco?
Why would you want a location shield for something other than local?
Well, there's the answer then. So Nathan, hopefully that makes some sense. If you have multiple locations, that's what you would want to do. If you have inner service pages, then those would just be expanding your current drive stack. You wouldn't need a separate ID page and a separate drive stack built for a particular service page. You could just clone what you currently have and then optimize, like edit. And that's something that we will have available soon in MGYB. That's the entity or the drive stack expansion service, which is coming soon. Marco, do we have a time on that yet?
No, we just asked the developer today and he's still working on it.
Okay. So hopefully that makes some sense, Nathan. Troy says, hello, when doing schema for service area business address lat long and don't want to use exact address because trying to rank in nearby bigger city, should be okay to use more general location of a nearby city like city, state, lat long. Okay. You can omit, well, not necessarily. I can't remember if it'll take it or not. If you were to go to local business schema, for example, and right here where it does say geo coordinates Latin long, you might be able to just remove that from the code and then go try to validate the code in the structured data testing tool and see if it still validates. I know like for example, I was just talking about this tree service project I'm working on. Well, the primary domain I don't want that associated with the homepage. I don't want that associated with a particular GMB because I want it to just be brand and keyword. And so I still have structured data for that, but because I still have local business structured data, but I don't have an actual street address. I just have city, state, and zip, and then the Latin long, but I was able to omit the street address and still have the local business structured data validate in the structured data testing tool. So I was able to omit that so that I can still have local business structure. Well, there's organization plus local business structured data, even on the home page, which isn't associated with any particular one specific address, if that makes sense. So you might want to be able to just go in and actually edit the latitude and longitude out and see if it will validate. Otherwise, I don't know, Marco. What do you say? I don't know that I would want to use a generic
I see potential
location.
problems, right? I see potential problems. Because he's talking about a local business with a business centroid, the centroid being the point where the business is, and right. Then Google extends in a radius from that. It's the business, it's the center of the business in relationship to the radius, correct? So yes. Google has that because you went to the pains of verifying in Google, verifying your business. You now have a pin. Google knows the exact location of that pin. Now, You go and you submit structured data, which is directly to Googlebot. Googlebot comes and crawls, and you have different geo settings, different latitude and longitude. Now, is that in and of itself going to cause a problem? I don't know. I haven't tested it. Potentially, it could be a problem, right? And I don't understand why you'd want to do that instead of extending the centroid. Why try to trick the bot?
I agree.
Instead of trying to extend the centroid and creating that relationship between the business centroid and the area that he's trying to target. If you create that relationship, that's going to work a whole lot better than trying to trick the bot into seeing different latitude and longitude for your business.
Yeah, I agree. Here's what I was showing, though, just in case you wanted to test that, is that part of it right there into that comma down there. I know it's probably hard for you guys to see, but if you were to eliminate that section right there and then try to validate the code, once the rest of the code was fleshed out, I'm assuming it would validate, but it might require the geo lat and long. I've never tried to omit that intentionally, but you could try it and see if it would validate. But I agree with Marco 100%. In my opinion, there's really no need to do that. I don't know why you would want to do that when actually you could just use the specific coordinates for where the business actually resides, where the physical location is. And then through your content, your silo structure, and everything else, you can tell Google what your service area is. And that's what my tree service case study that I'm doing in the mastermind is going to be demonstrating, is how through just blog posting, through silo structure, which simple silo structure, not even complex silo structure, and just blog posting, and then theme mirroring and interlinking correctly, that we can get significant results for a very large service area, even with only one GMB if needed. I've got multiple GMBs, but for this particular project, we're expanding south in Virginia from where the central location is, and all of the southern areas are going to be strictly organic rankings. All of the northern areas have already GMBs. So that's how we're going to kind of separate the two different tests on one site for one brand. Some are going to have GMBs, the rest, all the southern locations are going to be strictly organic. And I'm going to be demonstrating that in there. So I agree with Marco. I don't know why you'd want to trick the bot when you could just expand your area. So, okay. All right. That was a good question though. Troy says, hey, same goes with GMB images geotagged. Can general, bigger, nearby cities be the default instead of the exact business address, city, state? Yeah, well, that's what we teach in local GMB Pro, right? That's how you expand the centroid, is you start to upload images that are geotagged for a larger service area. So that's exactly what we teach in local GMB Pro. So that's different. That's different than trying to tell Google through structured data the latitude and longitude of where your business is when it's not actually where your business is. That's a lot different when you're uploading images from a larger, broader service area. So let's say you're a county over, right? Like, in other words, it's a service area business. So again, tree service contractor residing in Culpeper, their business physical location is in Culpeper, Virginia, which is where I am. And let's say they go to Fredericksburg, 45 miles east, and they do a job out there. They take photos on that job from their phone. Geodata's, lat and long, and the EXIF data is all part of the metadata of the image. They can upload it right there from their on the GMB app from their phone to the GMB profile. And that starts to tell Google, hey, their business might be located in Culpeper, but their service area does go to Fredericksburg. And here's the images with the geodata to prove it. It takes time. It's not like you're going to upload a couple of photos and all of a sudden you're going to pop in adjacent cities in the maps pack. It takes consistent, repeated effort, but you can do it. Marco's proven that many, many times. So, okay. We're almost done. Cool. Oh, it's 5 o'clock. I didn't realize that hour flew by. So Aaron says, is Google once again posting reviews? I lost 5 reviews this last month. Does anyone know if Google will display those reviews, or are they lost forever, requiring reposting? Thanks. No, I don't know the answer to that, except that I know what you mean. New reviews are not showing up, but because I left a review, a couple of reviews myself for other businesses that are not showing, but I'm assuming that when Google lifts this whatever restriction, that they will publish, but I don't know because I don't work for Google. Do you know the answer to that, Marco?
I have no idea if they will republish the ones that you lost. I know that they're like opening it back up slowly. There was a GMB email that went out. I don't know if you got that, Bradley, where they were mentioning that reviews were back and that they will be opening up other things slowly. I don't know. I don't know what they did. I don't know what they closed, and I don't know what's going to happen from there.
Yeah. Yeah, your guess is as good as mine. So, all right, guys, it's 5 o'clock. Sorry if we didn't get to all the questions. Mohammed, it looks like we missed one of yours. So sorry about that, guys, but we'll catch you all next week. Remember, Mastermind members, I have my webinar tomorrow, so we will see you guys there. Thanks for hanging out, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Yep.